Welcome to Alaska EdVenture, Lessons from the K-12 Frontier, with your host, Dr. Meinert, Superintendent of the Fairbanks North Starborough School District. This podcast is your gateway to the heart of Alaska's educational landscape, where each episode features guests sharing their unique perspectives. We are bringing together voices that shape education in the last frontier. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and innovations in Alaska's K-12 classrooms.
All right. Well, welcome back to the Alaska EdVenture podcast. I'm Dr. Luke Meinert, the host of the podcast and superintendent of the Fairbanks North Starborough School District. And today I'm super excited to have Liesl Wietgrefe with me and Erin Janoso. And we're going to talk about Music in Our Schools Month here in Fairbanks. And so I'd love for Liesl and Erin to introduce themselves, to tell the viewers a little bit about themselves. And then we'll jump into what is Music in Our Schools Month here in Fairbanks. So Liesl, why don't you kick us off a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I've been an educator here in Fairbanks for like the last 20 years. I started as a middle school band, orchestra, and choir teacher at Randy Smith Middle School, and then transferred over to West Valley High School. I was a band and steel drum director there, and then I went to the elementary schools in North Pole and taught beginning band there. So I've kind of done all the levels and all the different topics in music. And then I went to school and got my admin degree, and now I'm an assistant principal at West Valley High School.
Yeah.
Love that place.
Awesome. Yeah. Go Wolfpack.
Mm-hmm.
And Liesl's definitely an amazing AP, but has such a strong expertise in the music world too. And so what's your emphasis or your background in music? Do you play a specific instrument, or are you a vocalist, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. My mom was actually a music teacher. And so I kind of grew up in that whole music is part of your life. So I played saxophone and piano, and I sang in high school. I did all the things. In fact, I substituted for my band teacher when he was gone. I ran class. So so that's my background in high school. And then I went to college and I was a drum major for a marching band there. Wow. I did a lot of stuff. I played organ for my church. So kind of immersed in all the things. But saxophone is my main instrument. Love jazz. Also, I'm teaching jazz combo at UAF this semester, so that's been super fun.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm so impressed when I talk to musicians and music teachers specifically in Fairbanks, how versatile they are. They're like, yeah, I actually do all the things. It's not just one instrument. And, growing up, I did a lot of choirs. I played the baritone growing up, but always thought my music teachers had a primary thing, but it's so amazing how versatile our music teachers are here in Fairbanks. And so thanks for bringing your expertise to us, Liesl.
Yeah.
And Erin, how about you?
Well, I grew up as a band kid for sure. I grew up in rural Virginia and started playing trumpet in 5th grade. And I think I was trying to remember, I think it was a pull-out program in the way that it started for me, but we had the same band teacher for elementary, middle, and high school. So it you developed quite a relationship with your teacher, and that was something that was important to me. But I can think back and remember a particular moment when I realized I think I was in 7th grade, and that it was something that had struck me that I just really loved, and it was when my band teacher had said there was a summer camp that was happening. I actually hadn't connected this to the whole Jumpstart thing until just now, that thought. But he was announcing, it was towards the end of the year, and he announced that there was going to be a summer camp that was happening for kids that wanted to play over the summer. I think it was a week long, but it was a sleepaway camp, and it wasn't the same focus as what Jumpstart is. But I knew that I really wanted to go to that so much, but he said it was $100, and that just seemed like it's such a huge amount of money to my brain that I thought I would never be allowed to go. But I did get to go to that and had a great time, and just played all the way through elementary and then middle school and through high school, and loved it the whole time. And it was first period in my high school, and I remember that being the very specific and only reason that I would go or wanted to go to school. And it's once you're there, though, for first period, you might as well stay for the rest of the day. And so it was my main motivating force, I would say, was playing in the band. And we did football we had football marching band, so we marched in parades and on the football field at halftime, and so that was a big part of the fall. And then it was concert band the rest of the year, and so that was my background. And it was a big band too. It was a school about 1,000 students in the high school, and I would say that it was over 200 kids in the band. And concert band would end up having to be split, into different skill levels, I guess. But yeah, it was just a very popular thing. I never understood the story or the association of like the band nerd until after I had graduated high school, because it wasn't a nerd thing to do in my high school, and so that was a really important thing. But yeah, so that was my background, and I had assumed, I guess, that I would just always continue playing, and I think I took it for granted to such a degree that when I was looking for colleges, it didn't occur to me to really make sure that the place I went had a band, which looking back, I just can't even imagine how that didn't occur to me. But I think it was just assuming something that's always there, and it was not at my college. And so slowly, you don't ever quit something, you just accidentally don't play it for a long period of time. But I was always going to come back to it in my head, like really soon, and so, but that opportunity didn't present itself until that I was aware of anyway. I'd never heard of community bands or didn't know such a thing existed. And I made that discovery here in Fairbanks at the Esther 4th of July barbecue. Somebody behind me, like in the crowd of people, mentioned that they couldn't stay for very long because they had to go, they had a concert for the community band. And I remember I felt like I didn't know what that was, but it was like something was very, it's like my ears perked up and I was like, what is that? And I couldn't look it up fast enough, and it was, so when I went home and I Googled about it and discovered, I remember that it said no auditions. And that was like the most important part of it for me, because I hadn't played in 20 years, I think, and so there was no question that was going to be a rough start. And I didn't have my trumpet or anything, but we went to a performance. There was one coming up in a couple days. I don't know. I guess we didn't get to that July 4th one, so it didn't work out that day, but there was one a few days later in the Golden Heart Plaza, and we went there, and I ended up approaching the band afterwards. And those people that I walked up to that day back in 2015 are still some of my best friends here in Fairbanks. So they were all strangers. It was really scary, but to approach and think about that. And they got me a loaner trumpet for a while and got signed up for lessons. And I'm still taking lessons with that same person. So yeah, that was my connection in the beginning of kind of music here in Fairbanks for me. And then learning about music ed as my daughter was becoming involved in school. So, and then of course the cuts that were happening, and fourth and then fifth, and so, that was really important to me, given how important it had been to myself as a kid. So I wanted my daughter to have that opportunity. And I also feel strongly that if we don't have those musicians, in schools, there will stop being community bands and pit orchestras. And, we have to, the musical culture in Fairbanks has meant so much to my life here. It's where I really started to feel like I belonged here and enjoyed, like life here, I guess, is feeling like you're a part of a community. And, as I've watched, I feel like I've been part of an era of time where it's like watching it dwindle, and it's like it makes me feel afraid for it, because I want people to keep being able to plug in that way.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's where you come in you've got an amazing energy behind you and trying to keep this music dream alive for Fairbanks. And talking to some of the experts around the community, they often say like Fairbanks punches above its weight in terms of the musicians we produce here in little old Fairbanks at the end of the road. And so just thank you for your advocacy and your work and keeping it moving in the community, and then definitely just your involvement in the music scene. I think you touched on so many great things in your opening that I think we could do a couple of podcasts on.
Oh my God.
So you mentioned the Jumpstart, which we will definitely get to, but in there you talked about music being one of the drivers for you to come to school, which I think is the same for a lot of our students. And so, Liesl, I'd love to throw it to you to talk a little bit about the importance of music in education in our schools and having that available for all of our students.
Yeah, so often I think of music as sort of like this connection between the academics and like the whole child, because there's so much about music that is academic. I mean, it requires you to like be able to do math and, executive functioning and critical thinking. There's like so many parts of it that you have to be good at music. But then it also allows that connection, like I'm gonna get all. One of my students asked me one time, like, why do you like being a music teacher? And, I really had to make sure that I thought about it because there's lots of reasons why. But I think the biggest reason is just the connection that it produces between people. Like when I was teaching steel drums and kids were like totally jamming and then you could see them all moving at one time. It was like this, like you're connected somehow to the music, but also to each other. And gosh, that is like such a thing, the belonging part. And I think that's important for kids to be able to connect with each other because nowadays kids, when they go on to have a job, like you can know all the things in the book, but if you can't relate to somebody and you can't like talk to them about what they need to do or, how this project is going to work at your workplace or give them a quote and talk to them, be able to negotiate with them, like those things are really important to their success later on. So I think the fact that it ties all those things in together and is just fun.
It's totally fun, right? Which is a part of school, and we want school to be fun for our students and want to continue showing up. Attendance is a huge issue around the nation for students, and so the more we have for students that they want to come into our schools and participate and learn all those intangible skills that you're talking about is definitely a critical part of the educational experience here in Fairbanks. So I want to transition to Music in Our Schools Month. So I think, before I came to Fairbanks and probably the first year here, I heard about Music in Our Schools Month, but I didn't really know what it was. I don't know that's commonplace everywhere. So, Erin, could you talk a little bit about what Music in Our Schools Month is here in Fairbanks?
Sure. Yeah. Music in Our Schools Month is the month of March. It's been designated that way by NAFME, or the National Association for Music Education, and as a national organization, they, I guess, have designated that month for communities across the country to find ways to celebrate, like music in the schools, and then to use it as a time of focus, I guess, to, for all different ways, like different communities celebrate it differently, and bring the importance of the music ed to the community and to like just raise awareness within the school, but also within maybe students' families as well as just the community at large, and allow them to participate, hopefully be more aware of the music programs and what sorts of support they need and just what makes them so awesome. And, and so different, like I was saying, different communities have come up with their own traditions for ways that they celebrate. And here in Fairbanks, there's a few things. There's the shirt contest, which is kind of a cool thing that happens it happens earlier because the art contest that's involved with that. There's an art contest that I think that usually happens in the fall, right? Is that the typical time frame where students, any student, I think, in the school district. I'm not sure if there's an age, like if you have to be of a certain grade, but I believe it's all of them, and they submit designs, and there's a few parameters. I think it has to include maybe the year, and there's it might have to say Music in Our Schools Month. Some basic rules like that, and then otherwise it's just whatever the student comes up with, they can turn it in, and then the winning design becomes logo is not quite the right word, but it's the design that's used on the shirts that then get printed and sold, and then the proceeds from those shirt sales are used for music scholarships, like for music camps and things that for students in the district. So,
which that's super awesome, and I want to hear more about it. But when you were mentioning your first camp experience and thinking about like that $100 and how that's a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. And that is a lot of money for a lot of our students. And so having that be a give back and that we can see more students realize their musical dreams through that partnership is super awesome. Yeah,
I think back, and like I said, I hadn't actually made that connection in my brain with that memory to what we're doing and have been working on here. But it was, that was a turning point, because I think it had to do with a few things. It was like me realizing how badly I wanted to go, because I had realized that I really loved playing so much and didn't want to stop for the summer. That was a big problem in my opinion, not having the playing opportunities over the summer. And then, but yeah, like in the scholarships being available for exactly kids like that. My family, it was a lot of money to my brain, but we were able to afford, my parents were able to just have me be able to go, and I was so glad. But it would be a barrier for many. But yeah, that's something. It's a sale that's going on right now. And so there's a website this year. It's a little bit different. They're doing it via one of the websites where you can go and you just click whatever type of shirt style that you want. I think they even have sweatpants there this year, and there's mugs and stickers and things like that. So
my whole Sunday outfit now, sweatpants and hoodie.
That's right. And you can get your mug. I think there's water bottles. So some of those different swag type things that you can get with that logo. And the winning student this year is a Lathrop High School student. Her name's Miranda, and do you know how to say is Parchu?
I don't know, yeah.
But I'm sorry, Miranda, if I'm saying.
Congratulations to Miranda.
But she's the winning. She was the one who created the winning design this year. So it's been done annually. I think with maybe a miss during COVID or so, but otherwise.
I actually called some longtime music teachers that are still around last night and said like, hey, when did this start? And so she let me know. 1986 was the first time that we did Music in Our Schools Month t-shirts.
That's amazing.
Yes. And every year there's a little logo that gets put on that says, made with love from the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District music teachers.
I love that. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And we'll be sure to share that information out with the podcast in terms of how people can go and purchase all of their swag and their Sunday apparel. So.
Yeah, it's some of my fun. I have a number of years of them now, and I just love. Because I think about that, it's like what I'm wearing, and I love seeing those shirts out in the community as well. Like you'll see kids wearing them in school or their parents and stuff, and it just says something about at least some piece of what they care about, that they're wearing one of those shirts. So you can get hoodies and things like that. So hats, I think. So that's one super cool thing, and I love that it combines the art element too, because like a drawing, and they conceptualize their own design, and it was really neat, like sitting with some of the as the selections were being made, and just like getting to look at all these different designs and that kids had come up with, and they were quite different from each other. And of course, then there's the age range, of different, the art looks different if you're a 12th grader versus I think last year's design was a 6th grader.
Oh wow!
If I'm remembering
the
right.
Design.
Maybe even an elementary student too. I might be mixing years,
sure.
But yeah, so that's super cool. And then another big part of Fairbanks's particular Music in Our Schools Month celebrations are the big joint concerts that happen. And so and those are coming favorite. Up. Yeah, it's amazing I just remember I can still remember coming to the first one of those that I ever did, and because at the time there was still elementary music, band and orchestra, and so you get to hear the elementary students, and then the middle school students, and then the high school students. And it was just the progression of skill, and you could really see how it builds. I just felt like a real profound example of how, why it's important to start early enough to allow the time for that skill to build, and over the years. And so, that's but of course then there's all the preparation and stuff that goes into that too, because then like I was subbing yesterday and will again tomorrow, because then the teachers have to get the kids together. So the joint, I guess I didn't explain that, the joint concerts are where the schools band and orchestra, so like the middle schoolers will, from Randy and Ryan and the different middle schools programs will get together and perform pieces together.
Yeah.
So
it's
it
like
ends
a
up
mass band. It's like 200 kids on the stage. Some years we were barely able to fit everybody on, but it's so, again, like that connection piece is like so cool to like, you all learned these things separately and then you can just come together and like make this awesome thing that everybody like has their part in and is participating. It's like super cool.
Oh, it's amazing. I was able to go watch the elementary honor choir practice last night and just hearing, you know, these little guys just sing these amazing songs and like how much, you know, they're into it and the love and joy that they have around singing. And so I think they're about halfway into their practice schedule is what it sounded like before their like their main performance.
Yep.
And so I'm really excited to see the progression from last night to the performance whenever it's coming up. And so maybe we could talk a little bit about the upcoming performances, dates, times, where people could check those out if they're interested.
Yeah, I have a poster here that has all of the things, and maybe I'll share it later. But the first one is going to be in North Pole. They start February 27th, actually. So we have a North Pole band one. A choir one is on the 28th, which is here in Fairbanks. And then North Pole, again, orchestra, the 29th. We have a jazz one.
Ooh,
I think that's
nice.
new this year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. March 1st, that one is here in Fairbanks, and then North Pole again, the choir one, the 4th. Band in Fairbanks is March 5th, and then the final one of the series is March 7th for orchestra here in Fairbanks.
Oh,
so
man.
lots of options for people to go and see.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of great opportunities to come check out our local young musicians that are in the Fairbanks schools. And so we'll make sure we share that information out to you so everybody knows dates, times, locations.
Awesome.
I just remember, I would be remiss not to mention, so a really cool thing that's also happening this year around the middle school band Music in Our Schools Month concert, the joint one, is that there's a guest composer, Adrian Sims, is coming up for that. And so that was an idea. Simon Trainer and Bob Lockwood were the ones that I'm not sure if they had more teachers involved. Those were the two that I had talked with about the project and their idea of bringing up this guest composer from the lower 48. And Adrian Sims composed 3 of the pieces that the middle school band students will be performing. And so he's the composer of those pieces that they've been working on in these joint rehearsals and practicing separately and then coming together, practicing together. And then they will perform on stage during this joint concert. And so he will come up for a couple days and spend some time in the classrooms with the students and doing workshops and talking about what it's like being a composer, a musician, because he's also a trombonist and so an educator, and so he will do workshops with them about composing. I think about rehearsal techniques, about career opportunities in music, and we'll go to the different schools, and then of course rehearse with the groups, and then on stage will be their guest conductor. So we'll get to anybody that comes to that particular concert. We'll get to see him working with the students. Yeah,
you're not going to want to miss that one.
No.
And I understand some partners helped us out with the financial side of bringing him up. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're going to, we're still working. We're going to hope, I know, so the school district helped. The lion's share of that was a tremendous thing. And we have been putting together getting together some different donors and also we're hoping to do a crowdfunding to raise to offset his travel costs. So that's something that folks can help with. And we have a QR code, and we're going to be getting that out imminently. It's like a thing that is needing to happen, I'm aware. And so, so that folks can look for that. I could mention, I guess there's the Facebook page for the Music Advocacy Committee here in Fairbanks, and there's a website. Probably, I imagine Facebook is where some of that will go, but we'll make sure to get it spread around as widely as we can. And if folks are interested in doing that, there's also another way that you could donate to that if you wanted to help is the website with the donation thing.
Yeah, so the district website, we have a partners page on the district website that folks can go to and donate specifically to Music in Our Schools Month. I think you have to choose the district-wide or district office category, and then there's a drop-down under that for Music in Our Schools Month. So I know we'd be very appreciative of any donations or funds there to support Music in Our Schools Month and provide these amazing opportunities for our students. So I did want to transition because there's one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that was Jumpstart Music. You, Erin, talked about it in your opening comments, and one of the things I thought was really interesting is you talked about how it's scary trying something new. And even as an adult, it's, scary trying something new. But then I go back to thinking about my middle school years and potentially maybe trying it on like a musical instrument for the first time and how scary that might be. And so, Liesl, could you talk about a little bit about Jumpstart? Because in my mind, Jumpstart helps hopefully get our students over that hump of maybe being scared to be introduced to musical instruments.
Yeah, definitely. So I came up with this idea and kind of Erin helped me develop it with when we cut fourth and fifth grade band and orchestra. I wanted, a way for kids to sort of be able to be introduced and then also to just learn the very first parts of that because going into middle school, you're in this big class with maybe 30 kids and, you have this instrument, you don't know what you're doing. Like your teacher says, don't touch it, but it's like shiny, right? Like there's so many things to like figure out. So last year, Erin and I raised a bunch of money to be able to hire teachers to run a week-long camp. And it's for incoming sixth graders going obviously into middle school where they have that option of joining band or orchestra. And it's 9 to noon. They get to try out all the instruments. We had an instrument petting zoo, which was super fun. And then pick the instrument that they want to try. Then they learn how to put it together, how to hold it, how to make their first notes. And then we actually, in a week's time, were able to teach them enough that they could put on a concert. So
I remember seeing that concert. I was like incredibly blown away by the music that they were producing after the end of a week where some of them hadn't even touched a musical instrument prior to that time. So excellent job with that. And if parents are interested in the upcoming Jumpstart camp, how will they hear more about it?
Yeah, so we're hoping to send out information about it to incoming sixth graders, maybe by email. I don't know. We haven't worked out the logistics. We'll certainly post it on the district webpage with how to sign up for the camp. And that'll probably be coming out end of February. Well, that's soon. Maybe the beginning of March, maybe.
Already talking about summer.
Yes, I know. Gosh, yikes. But that's how people plan, right?
Yep.
So we'll send something out for parents to sign up. And then hopefully through their music teachers as well, they could get information. So we'll share that out so a kid can sign up. Yeah, and we had 50 kids last year. We really want to get above 100 this year because having more kids involved, just means they're better set up for middle school and really can bolster their experience.
Yeah, I love that. So Jumpstart, looking forward to seeing that again and how it progresses. And just want to do a huge shout out to all of our music educators in the district and partners. Our music educators go above and beyond, not only on a daily basis, but the amount that they volunteer to ensure the success of music in our Fairbanks area is just incredible. And so thank you to our music educators. Thank you to Liesl. Thank you to Erin for your continued promotion of Music in Our Schools Month and music in Fairbanks. And so with that, I'm going to conclude for today. Thanks so much for being on the show and being on the Alaska EdVenture podcast with Dr. Meinert, and look forward to our continued conversations and that Jumpstart here in the future. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you for embarking on this Alaska EdVenture with us. Hit that subscribe button and we'll meet you on the next episode.